Welcome to the Jeff Fitzgerald Football Show, brought to you by RE/MAX Realtor Slagle McGuffey. I'm Mike Downhour with head football coach Jeff Fitzgerald. Coach, what a game last week against the Ruston Bearcats. I know you came up on the short end of it, but your team seemed to really even mature that much more as good drives down the field, good defensive efforts, good all the way around, even on the most yards gained, 439. It was just on the wrong end of the scoreboard.
You know, and sometimes you give it everything you got and it's just not good enough. But at least you can sleep at night knowing that you gave it everything that you got. And, you know, we came up short. They played a great game and they won the turnover battle and protected the football a little bit better than we did. And then they did a tremendous job tackling. And we came up with some plays when we needed to, but then so it just wasn't enough at the end of the day.
Looking back at the Jamboree, I realize it was preseason. I realize it was, basically a scrimmage. But Jabari could not complete a pass in that game, and I know he had been held out of the spring or the fall scrimmage the week earlier. But yet last week, first 5 were completed, 3 touchdown passes to Newton, and he just seemed to, over the 7 weeks, seems to have really matured as a quarterback. I know he's not where you want him yet, but he's come a long way.
He's come a tremendous way. In the Jamboree, that was the first snap he had taken. The first snap in the Jamboree was the first snap he had taken in 2 weeks. And so he had not practiced up to that point, and just he'd been out with an injury at that time and didn't get to play in the scrimmage, didn't get to play in the Jamboree, and so, or didn't get to practice up before the Jamboree, and so that was the first snap he had taken. And then obviously he's taken almost every snap since then and just gotten better every week. And gone to work, I think he was 11 for 16 with a couple hundred yards passing, and he had a great night. And it just so happens that we came up short.
Well, 1 turnover and on that final drive, and of course, that could have changed everything. Let's talk about some of your other players, your freaks of the week. Let's brag on some of your students. Let's start off offensively.
Offensively, Alvin Kai. Alvin Kai's he's an offensive tackle. Those offensive linemen don't get very much credit sometimes, but he went against their best player, Taj Samuel.
Man.
All night long.
He is a beast.
And Alvin did a tremendous job. That was his first game to start. It wasn't his first varsity action, but he'd never seen that much varsity action before. And then first game to start against one of the top players in the North Louisiana, and did a tremendous job all night of competing and getting after it. And man, he even graded out great, and he made very few mistakes. So Alvin Kai's offensive freak of the week.
Let's go defense.
Defensively, 2 guys were very, very unselfish, made some good plays. We asked them our 2 defensive ends to squeeze, to wrong shoulder everything and make it spill, and they did just that, knowing that the whole time they probably weren't going to get very many tackles, and they didn't have a lot of tackles, but what they did allowed us to have a chance to be successful defensively, and that's Kurt Hill and then Julius John Lewis. Both those guys did a tremendous job, and both never say a word, go to work every day, work hard, and then competed in the game and did a great job for us.
Got another district game coming up. This will be your first home game against Natchitoches. We'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes. You are tuned in to the Jeff Fitzgerald Football Show, brought to you by Planet Fitness.
Hello, I'm Ross Downs of the Downs Law Firm. We're a personal injury law firm that handles cases involving 18-wheeler crashes, automobile wrecks, pedestrian accidents, as well as slip, trip, and fall. We practice in 3 different states, the states of Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi. Our legal team has approximately 50 years of combined legal experience handling these types of cases, and we've had many settlements and verdicts that have exceeded over $1 million on a repeated basis. What separates the Downs Law Firm from other personal injury type law firms is the personal care and attention that we give to each case. We're with our clients every step of the way. We advise them through issues surrounding the liability issues of a wreck or a personal injury. We also help and handle issues involving any medical questions or medical treatment that the client may need, and we try to assist them with making good decisions on what they need to do to try to get better and over their injuries on a timely and quick basis. We would invite you to contact us if you've been involved in any type of personal injury. or suffered from an accident, our legal team is here. We're available, and we'd like to visit with you. Please give us a call if we can be of further assistance. Thank you very much.
Welcome back to the Jeff Fitzgerald Football Show, brought to you by Bayou Grill. Coach, the Natchitoches Central Chiefs come to town tonight, and you've been playing district ball, but you've been doing it all on the road. They come to your place. What's it going to be like having a home game for a change?
Man, it feels good to know that you don't have to travel all over the place, and to be able to kind of settle in, getting a little more routine that we'd like to have, and have our guys a chance to settle in rather than having to eat and run and grab your bag and jump on a bus and take a road trip. But it's good to be back. It's good to be back in the Lions Den.
Looking at Natchitoches Central, you see a mediocre team at best until last week. They changed out their quarterback, put in this 5'7", 150-pound, at least that's what he's listed as, quarterback, ran for 225 yards, threw for a couple of touchdowns. I mean, completely changed what Natchitoches Central does offensively. How do you prepare for that when they've done one thing for the whole season and a different game last week?
Well, the good thing is prior to last week, they looked exactly like us. 3 wide receivers, H-back, doing some 4 wide stuff, but mostly playing off that H-back, and they were running some just counter, some one-back power, a little bit of quarterback counter power off of that. So very, very similar to what we do, running inside zone, and so it's not something we've never seen before. And so it's not a big surprise. It's not anything new that you got to go and just completely change what you do for. And then they've gone to 4 wide, inside zone, counter, and quarterback scramble is what it boils down to. And I think he scrambled for, I'd say, 95% of those yards that he got. So very elusive football player. And I talked to Coach Moore, their head coach, this week, and I asked him, man, where'd this cat come from? And he said, well, he was just trying to find a spark. Well, I think he found a spark that's a blazing fire. And this young man is the closest thing that I've seen to Devion Warren when Devion was a sophomore. Very good feet, and this kid's a sophomore, so that's scary down the road. But it's just he's a good player, very good feet, good speed, good quickness, and can make some things happen.
Compared to your common opponents, which is only Pineville, which is the team they played with him as quarterback, you guys put up 26 points against Pineville. They put 49, it was a 49-35 ball game last week. Obviously, they can put some points on the board, and they, again, against a common opponent. I know your offense struggled a little bit there, but how do you look at it with Pineville, compared to 2 teams?
Man, it was so different. What Pineville does is so different than what we do. And they're constantly slinging it all over the place, and so the game's longer. You're going to take more snaps. You're going to have more opportunities. And then what we do, we shorten the game a lot of times with our running attack, and even our passes are short throws that are basically toss sweeps or runs, so the ball stays in bounds, and it's high percentage throws, not a lot of incompletions. So when we're on offense, a lot of times the clock is running, and then which is not the case when Pineville's on offense, and hasn't been. And it wasn't really the case either for Natchitoches. He threw a couple of passes, but they had several incompletes, and so there was a lot of time for that clock to stop. It was a long game, and they took about 30 more snaps in that game than what we would normally take. And I think that's just a combination of both offenses being spread and throwing it around. But I don't know. I don't really think we can compare the games because we're just so much different than they are.
Let's look at their defense and their special teams. Their kicker, field goal kicker, kicked 2 field goals, and defensively, what should we expect from Natchitoches?
They're a 3-man front, and they're going to line up in a 3-3 stack. They're going to line up in a 3-4. They're going to walk down to a 4-3 look, and so they're going to give us defensively very multiple sets all over the field. And basically we're just counting numbers in the box, and that's what we do every week is we count numbers. And Jabari knows if he's got the numbers, then he runs it or throws it, based off of numbers. And so that's kind of what we're looking for defensively. And they're going to play it too high and spin those safeties down. nothing we haven't seen before. They just stay in their three-man front a whole lot more than other teams have, and I don't know that they will either with with the way we stack the box and run the football pretty effectively.
Let's go back to offense on your side of the ball. You've got now Dylan Roberts appears to be healthy. He struggled a little bit in Pineville. Maybe he wasn't ready yet, but last week against Ruston, he was running the Dylan Roberts style, and he got over 100 yards in the game. Complement that with Lewis. I mean, you got a nice two-back set back there.
It is nice to have Dylan back and to have both those guys. They complement each other very well, and they're both much better running backs when both are playing, because now we got a chance to rest one of them rather than him having to carry that load the whole time. I feel like that takes a lot of pressure off Jabari. He knows that he can rely on both those guys, and really we've got three dudes that are a big time run threat, and then you add that into the play of our wide receivers, and Jay doesn't get a lot of credit, but he does a ton of blocking, and when he does go out for a route, I don't think he's dropped the ball all year, and so he's a very effective receiver for us. Obviously Josh Newton, Datron Harper, C.J. Brown, Terrence Logwood, those guys have done a really good job for us this year in blocking and being able to catch the ball when it's thrown to them.
You're right in the middle of district play. I know you're fighting for that win tonight. What's the last thing you're going to say to your team before they hit that field tonight?
I know we got to take care of the football.
Okay.
And we've got to be good tacklers. When it comes down to it, the team that wins the turnover battle usually is the successful team, and we got to take care of the turnovers or take care of the football and create turnovers, and then be good tacklers. And that's something that when you look back, Ruston a week ago had an opportunity to put the nail in the coffin toward the end of the game, and we stripped the football from
Sure
them.
did.
Got it back and was able to drive it down the field. So we gotta take, when we have those opportunities, we gotta put the nail in the coffin and take care of the football.
Well, good luck tonight, and we'll talk to you post-game.
Thank you.
You've been tuned into the Jeff Fitzgerald Football Show, brought to you by 3B Equipment.